Okay.
Well, you can stream it,
What's
but
in
we
there?
can't start the
Like
meeting.
this walking path or?
Right.
No,
Speaking, there's a fence that's
But they
blocked
can hear
out.
everything we're saying.
Oh,
yeah.
but that small strip is his?
It's part of this.
Okay.
It's part of that.
How are you? I will turn this off, turn it down.
Yeah, see, I can't see the yellow.
We are live.
Couple months.
I just want you to know you are being streamed on YouTube.
On
Like,
YouTube,
just so
right.
you
We're
know.
famous.
You're famous.
Here in April.
Famous on YouTube.
If you got any magic tricks, that's okay.
It's on a delay now.
Some cancellation.
It's so weird. I don't know why it does that.
I sent you my message, right?
Do they ever get feedback to how many people actually watch this?
If you go on YouTube.
Yeah, it tells you how many
It
views.
will see, yeah, you will be able to see if you go on the meeting.
So you might have one when you view it.
Well, there's analytics right there.
Well, there's no.
That's now, yeah, but.
Not right
you know,
now.
Because
yeah.
the meeting hasn't started.
During the meeting, but can we check later? Can I check a month from now and see how many people watch it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can, okay. I'm not a YouTube person.
You're not a YouTube person?
Yeah. Yeah, I never.
I usually ask my wife when I get home if she watched it.
And she says, and she, what does she say?
My husband will check if I haven't like if it gets a long late meeting and he's like I wonder because he knows he'll just go onto the municipality's website and he's like he'll text me I said I checked the YouTube or I checked the live stream I see you're still at your meeting. Yep.
It probably is good for people to fall asleep to.
Stop it.
Wow.
Okay. First one is,
First one is 24. I
got
will
that
put it up
right
on the
here.
board.
Yeah. Got that right here.
What do you want to see? The site plan?
No, I got it right here, but yeah.
That would be lovely.
House Street Shed.
Did we get the
I actually gave a copy to Dave, and he has that.
Yeah, just one. I wanna
From
see it.
20,
It was
2011.
2011.
Yeah, I wrote 2013 in the thing.
Okay.
it was
Close
2011.
enough.
Well, you know, nearest decade.
But yes, we do, we have a copy of that. David has that with him.
Isn't there an expression close enough for government work?
I wasn't gonna say that in this meeting. We use that in corporate America all the time.
Corporate America. It is silenced, okay.
On that other neutral project we have, I sent the, I finally got the deed from the town. So I sent that to the recording, so that domino should start to fall.
Okay.
Because, then we'll get a tax map designation, then I can get your recording information.
Okay.
I can put that in the declaration, like I said, that's the first domino, and then I'll start
Yeah,
to.
somebody's actually gotta start doing some work on.
Well, I'm gonna send you recording information, but you can write it on the plan.
Well, I got other stuff I gotta take care of for the town.
That plat isn't actual, are we merging or is it a lot line improvement?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Because actually that'll make life. If it's just like-
Hi.
Because I was talking to the title company for refinancing purposes and they were like, I
Is
was
Brian?
like, oh, we're gonna file a lot line improvement, and then I sent the email, it's like.
No Brian, no Valerie, right?
Sure, we're
What?
consolidating.
He's absent.
Yeah, but that's not a
and
lot line
Vanessa's
improvement.
absent.
No.
It's just the
Valerie,
condition
Vanessa.
of
Why do I keep
approval
calling
Yeah.
through the
Valerie?
assessors.
Yep, you just sent the letter to
Why do
Debbie.
I keep calling
But it needs
Valerie?
an SBL to
Yes.
consolidate,
Yeah.
so.
There's gotta be a Valerie that,
I got
relates
it,
to that,
and
and I see.
instantly sent it to go
It
be
doesn't
recorded,
matter.
so it should
I
be
mean,
recorded
I mean,
tomorrow.
it matters, but you know what I mean.
And then I can
Yeah.
fill in that recording
Yeah.
information, in the
Maybe I
declaration,
finally realized
record the
like, oh,
declaration,
I'm supposed
declaration
to
like early
do it
next
this
week.
way.
You're right.
Yeah, but it was only
That's fully
like May and
signed.
January.
Okay.
And then I can get you that information.
Unintentional.
Okay.
I have better things
That's
to
what you're
do,
not
so I don't think about
So,
that. I'm not
we're
like
getting
that,
there.
Yeah, almost.
but
We'll get to do
Jonathan's now
that.
pushing.
going forward, that's
He's been
good
pushing it since
anyway.
March.
Yeah, I mean, as long as everybody's the same, you know?
Practice for all the boards.
What?
It's good practice for all of my boards. I
Mhm.
just don't have, I don't have just you guys, so.
It's official.
It's a reverse address.
7:30.
Yeah, it's,
30.
All right.
We have
has like a.
2 minutes, 20 clock?
No, that's always. That's
Quite to my clock, it's, we're on time.
Plurally, it's a 2-for-1.
I love it.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the Planning Board, Village of Warwick. Today is June 10th.
10th.
The agenda says June 21st, but it's
10th.
okay.
June 20.
June 10th,
June
2025.
I know. Why? I don't.
The first order of business is to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's really, I'm worried.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jesse Gallo,
Here.
Brian Barber is absent. Carrie Boland,
Here.
Scott Brown,
Here.
Bill Olson,
I'll be here.
Vanessa Holland is absent. Keith Woodruff,
Here.
and Liz Cassidy.
Here.
Can I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from May 13th,
So moved.
2025? Is there a second?
I'll second them. I read them. They look like very, very long and complete.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Great. All right, moving on to the applications. First on the agenda is 24 Howe Street.
Yes, sir.
You can join me. You want to just introduce yourself and then the application.
David Jones, new resident to 24 Howe, I guess. We bought it from Mary and Melissa, which were friends of ours. We come from Monroe. And Warwick's a much better place to be.
Okay, and you're planning on removing an existing shed and replacing it with a new shed.
Right.
Okay, did you receive both Liz and Keith's
Yes,
comments?
I have comments or questions.
Okay,
about
Liz, how about we go through some of yours first?
Sure.
And then we'll go to Keith's.
All right, the property is located in the residential R zoning district. The site plan approval is required pursuant to 145-90A1 because the proposed shed does not comply with the bulk standards. I know Keith's memo. The property is a corner lot, applicant to designate side and rear yards pursuant and that's 145-54. Per 145-62, the distance between the principal building and the accessory building shall be no less than the height of the accessory building, but in no event less than 15 feet. Applicant to confirm compliance. I think it complies. I'm just putting it in there as.
Actually, it probably can't. If you ask me to move it 10 feet from the back property line, I think I'm 12 feet from my house.
So the distance, can I have you pop that out real quick?
Sure.
So the distance I'm worried about on that question
Yeah.
is, I'm worried about the,
Site plan? Okay.
yeah,
This one is
actually
the bigger
this one.
I love it.
The distance I'm worried about that we need to, is this.
That's correct.
So,
If I move this up another 7 feet, I'm at about 12 feet.
it's a minimum, it's not a maximum. So you don't have to move it up.
Well, if I move the shed, first, this is at 3 feet from the property
Okay.
line. And the comments have been to respect the 10-foot line. So that means I move this up 7 feet. So that end moves up 7 feet, and I'll be about 12 feet from that.
Right, those comments are if you were to
If-
not require or request a variance. So this, for the shed.
That's
to be
just a general
located-
statement of the code, is
Right.
that,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me to
No.
comply with that.
No, I mean,
so it's a statement of, it's a statement of the code And some of this is a determination of what variances we need.
Right.
If you move the
Gotcha.
shed and we need a variance for that dimension, we need to discuss that. If you don't move the shed and you need a variance for these dimensions, we have to discuss that. So
Okay.
you may comply with this dimension, but not that dimension. We're just trying to narrow down what dimensions we need to get variances for.
I now understand.
So that's one of your requirements.
Gotcha, okay.
So, do you know how high the shed is supposed to be?
It's one of the gray, wood from Goshen. It's, I should have brought that brochure with me. It's not that high. It's maybe 9 or 10 feet high maximum, because it's just a single-story shed.
Okay, so if it's 9 foot, let's just use 9 feet as an example. If it's 9 feet tall, it needs, the way I read this code, and
You need
Keith,
15 feet,
I need 15 feet.
right. As I read what you wrote there, the shed's lower than the 15 feet. So the 15
Yeah.
feet would be the
Yeah.
requirement.
Okay. Applicant to confirm intended use of the shed. In the event the shed is intended to serve a form of home occupation, shed to comply with the requirements of 120.3.
It's my junk shed.
If it's your junk shed, then you can ignore that comment.
No, I'm not ignoring it. I'm just confirming. I
Okay.
have a lot of junk.
Okay. You can't occupy. Sometimes people bring in sheds and they want to make a studio or something else. You need further compliance if that was your intent. Your junk away. It's,
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's junk, but my wife wouldn't agree with me.
It's couple of corrections to the bulk table. I noted rear yard to 10 feet, alterations to development coverage as a result of the larger shed, that just needs to be shown. And then the plan listed as shed setback, I think Keith and I figured it out that was both the side yard and rear yard, they are the
Correct.
same.
Right.
So it was just labeled as shed, and I went, wait, there's an accessory. It took me a minute, but once I figured out that was both the side yard and rear yard, it all became clear to me.
Yep.
I just need to review the previous variance that was issued. My understanding is there was a variance issued, being now advised 2011. And then the application would be subject to area variances, side yard and rear yard, or in the alternative, and maybe inclusive of that 145-62. So I'll let Keith review his comments while I read this.
And I don't know if you are interested, that's what she gave me. And Mary gave me, these are the plans that she used
Okay.
back when she did it. If you want copies of these,
Okay.
I'd be happy to make them for you.
What was the variance for?
It was an addition, a two-story addition on the
Okay.
side of the house.
12 foot by, it got cut off.
Yeah, 12 by 15.
15
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah, 12 by 15.
Yep.
All right, Keith, you want to go over yours?
Yep. So the plan submitted didn't have any information as to who provided or who created the plan.
Yeah, Cecilia didn't put it on there. I don't know why not. I mean, she's on this one. That's why I contacted her, because she did this here.
Okay.
And so, because she had all of the, documents and all the stuff in her computer, it was just
Okay.
easy for her to just drop
So as long
that
as it's a
down.
licensed professional, just so that.
She, I don't think, is a licensed professional.
Okay. So for
But-
setbacks, it's not necessarily required, but we will need a copy of the survey so that we can verify the meets and bounds that are provided match the original.
Yeah, I agree, and I've actually reached out to, the surveyor of the original person.
Like December.
Margaret, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And she's on vacation right now until
Okay.
June 16th. But you've also got another, are you the engineer?
Yes.
So you've also got a comment, it's there, something about shielding from the neighbors and that there's a wire fence. There's actually a wooden 6-foot-high fence all the way around the backyard of this house that
Okay.
they must have put in when they did the addition.
Yeah, so if we could update that just to show that there is some kind of a screening because of the close proximity to the neighbors,
Right,
any
right.
kind of visual screening you could
Right.
show would be a positive.
Right. So, I mean, I talked to Margaret before she went on vacation, and she goes, "Oh, I can't give you a copy of this survey because it's been too long. And I have to come back and see it.
Okay.
And it doesn't have the wooden fence.
Yep.
So she definitely needs to come back and put that on.
Yeah, and that's usually a pretty quick process. They just do an update survey based
Right.
on the improvements. Okay. The table book requirements, as to Liz's comments, the rear yard being 10 feet. So on your chart, it shows the rear setback, or the rear yard as being 35 feet. That's supposed to be 10 feet. And that's what yes. So that's where the 10 feet is coming into play, not the 35.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
She might have been because apparently I have 2 front lawns.
Yes,
Yes.
you did.
So this front lawn is 30. Because we originally were looking, it was like, bam, put it right there. It'll be absolutely perfect right behind the fence. And then she goes, oh man, that's 35 feet over there.
No.
Which is like over here.
So one of my, to just tie into that, yes, you do have to, your corner lot, so this is a front yard, this is a front yard. You have a choice, but you should note it on the map, okay? Your designer correctly notified front yard, Factory Street, front yard, House Street, but should just note which one is
Rear and side.
rear and side. So
So this is wrong.
that is, but
Gotcha.
also on the plan, you get to pick. You actually get to pick. This can be your rear yard. This could be your rear yard. Whatever you pick, the opposite is your side yard. So you got one side yard and one rear yard.
Okay, what are the repercussions of the difference between a rear yard and a side yard?
Setback.
The dimension, the relevant dimensions.
So side yard setback is 20 feet?
No, it's actually 10.
Okay,
So
let me write it down
there's
here.
two different, there's setbacks and yards. So there's a difference or a definition as to how they're defined. So setbacks would be for the building, the primary structure, not the shed.
Okay.
The yards are theoretically supposed to be grass covered or basically a vegetated buffer strip from your neighbor. So the setbacks are what you're going to be constrained from the building. Obviously, the house is already there, so it's not as much of an encumbrance. The yards are what could potentially come into issues, and that's where like your shed or garage would really be contingent on those yard setbacks or yard distances.
Okay, so I have to decide if that's my back and that's my side, or if that's my back and that's my side.
Correct.
And the setbacks for both of those are 10 feet?
The yards
yard.
are 10 feet. The setbacks are 20 or 35. So your yard would be, say, the grass area. Your setback would be theoretically from the back of the house to the back of the yard, or the back of the property, the side of the building to the side property line. Those are your setbacks.
I expect that this will be your rear yard. Based on the
This one?
distance. Yeah, because that's the fatter distance. Bill is desperate to ask me a question.
I'm trying to get a question. Isn't there a restriction on how many parking spots you can have in the front yard? So if that's the front yard, then you can't have those parking lots.
Okay. He has 2 front yards.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have
and
parking
they're
lots.
existing.
Pre-existing.
Yeah, but, you know, so this should be the front yard, my thoughts.
No,
But there's
that's not the
part of
issue.
both.
I know,
This is a front yard. So,
They're both front yards.
but I know that.
can I steal your pencil? Okay. This is a front yard. This is a front. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it needs to say
And
side
this
or
is-
rear, side or rear. Mm-hmm. You would think this would be side just because it's closer.
I
It'd
think
be
this is going to be
because it's-
rear and side, but that's, I confer with your design professional. Okay. All right, so that's your side there. This is your rear here and your front. And it is a driveway. And so, and it's existing.
Yeah, it's existing.
So he is not altering this.
No. It's just
No.
So we're gonna focus on the shed today.
Okay.
So it's funny because every time I've walked into here and I've had anyone ever look at my property, they always go, "You have 2 driveways. You can't have 2 driveways." And I go, "I have 2 driveways." Okay. Yeah.
It's pre-existing. It's pre-existing, it's a big thing.
They're right there. They were there when I bought the house. And actually, I've known Melissa and Mary for many, many years, and all those years, I've seen
So
two
I
driveways.
think Keith, do you have any other?
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Yeah,
So one of the other things to have your design professional update would be the development coverage. The development coverage is calculated based on anything impervious on your property. Only because if you do exceed the 35%,
right.
then you want to make sure that we get this done now, because then you can ask for that when you go to the ZBA.
Yeah, okay.
So-
It's not, we've already talked about it.
Okay.
In common, I think it's 18 point.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I
But as
figured
long as it's
15 was a
less-
little low, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, she looked at that and she went, oh my God, never calculated it.
Okay. And I just want to make sure, because if you go to the ZBA, get your variances, come back here for approval, and then come to find out that the coverage
Is
wasn't,
wrong.
yeah, then you have to go back.
Ah, gotcha.
We're trying to-
Okay. Oh, I see. So right now, we're talking about all of the variances required for me to put this thing here. Gotcha.
So the
Gotcha.
board's going to write basically the referral to send you to the ZBA to get the variances that you need for
Right.
the lot.
Right.
And so that's why they need to kind of make sure that you have plans that are sufficient enough to send that
Correct.
referral.
Gotcha. Perfect.
And that includes, like you said, impervious, so it includes the driveways, the
Uh,
house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
including the
all-
sidewalks
Right,
and
all into the coverage.
yeah.
So what I can suggest, right, is, I don't, if it's purely a dimensional standard for purposes of referral, is that you authorize your engineer to confirm the distances upon the revised submission, and then we can send it off to the ZBA, because to have the applicant come back for a meeting just for us to say, okay, go to the ZBA, that's a straight engineering issue, the confirmation of the dimensions.
Yep.
And I think you can.
Yeah, they're either going to calculate that's under and they don't need it, or they're going to calculate
Right,
over
so
and
again,
they need it.
the four things that are at issue are rear yard, side yard, potentially the distance between the principal structure, and that's just to confirm, that's the distance between the accessory and the principal, and then development coverage. So those are the four that pop out.
Did you have any more, Keith?
No, that was pretty much, and the screening was obviously the other
With the
thing.
fence now, that might
Yeah,
be
so if you can
resolved.
update the survey, that'll show that information as well.
Are
So-
the neighbors gonna object?
No. I've actually already talked to them all. and Bob, who sits over here, has been here since, the grass was brown. Goes, oh, I don't care what you do over there. And Diane, who sits back over here, I guess she's after these guys. I don't care.
So what I would do is make a motion to refer to the ZBA, subject to confirmation of the area variance dimensions by the village engineer.
Anyone want to make that motion?
Happy to make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So does that make sense?
Motion to refer to CBA. What was the rest?
Subject to confirmation of the dimensions by the village engineer.
Coverage.
Keith, do they need a location map on this? Like this location, site location on? I mean, it
I
doesn't
mean,
need
it could help.
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't it sort of common that it is?
so the checklist that gets provided to the applicants, part of the application packet, is more of a guideline.
Okay.
There's no requirements.
Oh, I thought it was required. Okay.
So the planning board has the ability to waive requirements, and that had been something that was done in the past. I mean, again, you kind of have to weigh it with the scope of the
Right.
application.
Yeah, I know that. I understand
Yeah,
that.
so
I
it's, in this instance, yes, you could very well ask the applicant to provide a location map if you thought it was necessary.
not necessary, but just,
Yeah,
just
but-
want to be sure it's not required.
It's the same thing with like contours, other existing landscaping.
Yeah, adjacent
you know.
structure.
Understand,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So you have the ability to.
Yeah, okay,
you
just
know,
want to be sure it
I
wasn't
would-
required.
I would say maybe because I don't know where the house is on this property. I mean, it shows the neighbor's house here.
Yeah, he's like almost right on my property.
Yeah, so you got a good idea as how close the shed would be to that structure. Maybe if
Yeah, she's actually over here.
Yeah, maybe-
Her house is, she has a big corner lot,
okay,
and her house is actually over closer
Further
to this one.
away,
Yeah, it's over
yeah.
there. She has a little shed right here, and her driveway comes in right there. And
yeah, maybe adding some features as far as what the closest things that would be to this back property, or I guess that's the rear or side.
Yeah, so typically when they perform those surveys, they're going to look, relatively close to make sure there's no encumbrances or encroachments
Right.
on the property. But there's no real hard and fast rule to say they're going to look, 20 feet beyond it, as far as the neighbor's house.
Mhm.
So, there they show the neighbor's house just to show how close it is,
It's
to
to
show that
property
it is
line.
clear and it's not with, encroaching on his property.
The,
It's close.
Yeah, no,
the neighbor's way over here on Bell.
yeah,
This is his house.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like
way
on the
back,
opposite side of the
she's way back over there.
All right, so that it, maybe just call this a driveway or something, just so that we could
Yeah.
understand what's on this side of the
So
fence.
this is the older plan. He has subsequently revised or
Right.
submitted a newer plan with a May date, and it does call out the neighbor's driveway.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
All right, and that's all I needed.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't need Diane's house details?
No.
No. So you're gonna make those, have your consultants make those revisions. They can send it directly to Keith. Once Keith looks at it, he will identify, he'll confirm the dimensions, and then you can make your application to the zoning board of appeals.
But
Yeah.
send it to me first and then I send it to Keith.
Okay,
Okay.
If you have any questions.
beautiful, thank you very much.
And I should have mentioned, it's not in my memo, it's a type 2 action. Minor details.
Any other questions? Do you want me to make copies of all of those for you guys?
No, it's really just the variance language itself, just so we have a copy of that.
Good.
No, because we haven't taken any action yet. You can put it in the minutes. Yeah, no, it's a type 2 action.
Anyone else have any questions? Comments? Okay. All right,
Done?
you're set for tonight.
You're
Yeah.
all
Beautiful,
set.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I guess I'll see you again.
See you again there.
Right?
I think you go to the ZBA.
Right, I go to the ZBA, but then do I come back here?
You'll come back here for final approval of the
Yep.
site plan.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a little bit of hopscotch, but you'll come back.
Yeah, and where's the ZBA? Right here, okay.
But you
Just
have
different
to
day.
fill out another application, so you'll have to come see me tomorrow. You have to fill out an area variance application and give another check and give another deposit for the escrow. And then that has to be in,
How much does the shed cost?
that has to be.
He'll have to let his design consultants before he makes the application first.
Yeah.
So you'll have to coordinate with Keith and then you
Might
can
be
make
the
that.
August meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I would have to hit the September. In August, I'll be sailing.
Oh,
Okay.
how lovely.
Yes. One of the reasons I want my shed is because I'm an active sailor.
Then it's not junk.
That's what I say. Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Is yours?
Yes, it is. Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care. So, the next and last application tonight is 24 Wheeler Avenue, two-family dwelling application. I can pull up another chair or two if you want.
Do you want to come up?
You don't have to if you don't want to.
Okay, then stay in the audience. Oh, unless you want to sit next, unless you want to come up. Okay.
She doesn't want to be on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that.
Whatever you want. Up there, thank you.
All right, if you want to just introduce yourself and then your application.
John Peruso, application for 24 Wheeler Avenue to convert it into a two-family.
Okay. And you received both sets of comments?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So we'll go through the comments, and if you have any questions, we can discuss those. Unless you want
Okay.
to walk through some areas.
The property is located in the residential zone in the limited office overlay. Applicant to verify distance to Route 94 and 17A to determine whether GML 239 applies. It's really close.
Yes, they're
So
right.
I need that confirmation. If it is within 500 feet, we have to send it to the county.
It's about 470,
Okay, so
just there.
you're gonna just have your consultant certify that for me. Okay,
Brian
Brian.
Yep.
Friedler, yeah.
Okay. Two-family detached residence is a permitted use in the R and LO and is use group G. The application is subject to public hearing, C 145-93, and then I provided in my comment the mailing requirements. I do note Keith's comments. Title appears in two names, but both record owners to sign, and I should have deleted that, I apologize, I did see that. Recommend the applicant provide a written narrative. The EAF should be updated to reflect the application for a two-family. Applicant to address yes answer to question 12B, applicant to address yes answer to question 20. Applicant to address impacts of streams shown on the plan. The current site is a pre-existing non-conforming site with respect to virtually all setback dimensions. The applicant should be referred to the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to 145-131E. And then I also draw a note to the reduced standards for pre-existing small size lots. And we've had this happen with a couple of applications. Just to clarify with respect to pre-existing structure, because we're effectively within a pre-existing structure. They're going from a less restrictive use group, which is use group B, to use group G, and so that's what you're expanding the extent of the nonconformity, which is what triggers the variances. So right now I have front yard setback, side setback, total side setback, minimum side yard, street frontage, rear setback, lot depth are the same as use group B. So those are effectively pre-existing. Engineer to confirm need for area variance in connection with the development coverage. Both units are required to be a minimum of 900 square feet.
You want to go through mine?
Yeah.
So to Liz's point, it's a pre-existing nonconformity that's increasing the nonconformity. So the ZBA variances through the plethora are going to be almost everything. The livable floor area for each unit, so we're going to need some kind of an architectural plan or something to show. I know that the existing dwelling, I think, is over 2,000 square feet, but by the time you add in bathrooms, second kitchen, other ancillary square footages, we just got to show some kind of evidence. So it doesn't have to be whatever finalized. It just has to be something that an architect can basically sign off on, saying that you have at least 900 for each unit.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
So if I don't meet the 900 as is that something that just becomes another variance, or would I have to make additional changes?
You have both options. So you can either make the change and put an addition on that meets the 900 square feet, or you can ask for a variance to, say, one unit being under 900 square feet and the other one, say, being in excess of.
With
That's-
that, it has to meet uniform building code for space.
Yes. Yes.
So this is the zoning code, which sets minimums, but then there's the uniform building code, which is respect to things like, is there sufficient room in ingress and egress for like bedrooms? So you can't give, a bedroom the size of a postage stamp. So you might be able to go smaller than 900, but there will be a floor with the uniform code.
And that's something an architect can work out for you and at least. So the bathrooms, all that stuff, all that gross square footage still counts. But if there is a shared space, that would not count as part of that for one unit or the other. The lot development coverage, I think you're really close to that 35%. So have it checked now, so this way you can have, if you do need it as a variance, better off getting it now than having to come back and having to do it again, go back to the ZBA and asking for a variance. It is a small lot, so exceeding that is not outside the realm of possibility.
It looks 50% minimum now.
Yeah. So I mean, there is some green space on the side and behind, but it's pretty close.
And there's no footprint change here, right?
Not as
Currently,
proposed.
right?
No.
Asking for a copy of the record survey. I believe it's from 2022, so I don't know if that was performed for you or.
Yeah. Okay.
Technical difficulties. Sorry. I don't know why it's doing that.
We can watch TV.
I'll just give it to.
Sorry.
Kristen, can you add, no, it's okay, Kristen,
Yes.
can you add that to the file?
What?
This is the survey.
Okay. Thank you.
The schedule of parking space requirements, as it shows on the plans, it doesn't calculate what the required amount is. It calls out the existing spaces and the proposed. And then to the next point, the one proposed parking space is in the front yard, which is not permitted in the zoning code. So you're allowed to have parking if it's part of the driveway, which you have already that leads to the dwelling. But the third proposed space that's adjoining the property to the east, that would be parking in the front yard that's not permitted. So I don't know if you have intentions on removing the garage or if you're gonna utilize that space as part of the parking for one of the dwelling units, because that could be part of one of your required parking spaces.
So I would plan to keep the garage as is,
Okay.
and then I would obviously apply for the variance because I would need to convert part of the garage to living space to meet the 900 requirements. I'm confident, but I understand I would need somebody to sign off on it, on the dimensions of the room to meet all the criteria. So I would prefer to keep the garage as is and use it for parking and apply for a variance on the space on the additional unit.
But if you use the garage, then you would have your 3 spaces and you wouldn't.
Correct.
No, he's
No,
saying that he wants a variance from the 900.
Just 9
Oh,
square
the
feet.
900
Yeah,
square
I would-
feet. and then-
Originally, the
okay.
plant to meet, he would eat into the garage, and then that would eliminate a parking spot. But
Okay,
he's
because that was going to be my next question. Is I don't know if if you can get a variance for the parking in the front yard, or if that would be, if it would be an area or a use
It'd be
variance.
use, wouldn't it?
I would-
I'd have to look. Technically, it's a dimensional issue.
Okay.
It's a gray area. I'd say get an interpretation from your
Yes.
building inspector,
No,
but yeah,
No.
I would prefer to do that if that garage counts as a parking space,
Yes.
as opposed to stall 3.
Okay.
I would rather leave the garage as is and not put that there.
Okay. And then the last thing, to Liz's point, I think you are within 500 feet. So it's 500 feet from the property line, not from the dwelling. So I think you are 500 feet to Route 94. Just for the error on side of caution, I would
you
definitely.
said 470, right?
Yeah, he just misses the 500 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's got to go for 239.
No. It doesn't have to go to the county.
Well, I pulled up the county records and I did a 500 foot from the property, and it does touch 94.
It's got to go.
Oh, it is? Oh, I thought you said.
He said 500.
I'm saying
470 is less than 500.
I'm saying it's 500.
Oh, you're saying it's 500?
Yes.
Okay.
Our engineer says 500. Sounds good to me.
No. I'm saying like it's within the 500 feet. So it's
It's going.
He
Yes.
needs to.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
going. We're doing
Okay,
county
okay.
land.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's 500 feet from the property line, and it's touching 94
So that
right in
has
front of
to
Lewis
go.
Park.
It has to go.
That
Yes.
has to go. Okay.
And it's really just a formality. By the time you get a response back, you're going to be coming back from the ZBA anyway.
Wait, so
Yeah.
what do I have to do?
So you don't have to do anything.
I
What
do.
Kristen's going to have to do is she's going to send your plan to the county. The
Yeah.
county is going to review it to see if there's any kind of intermunicipal planning aspects that they want to take, that they want to direct the planning board to take into account. It's more of a formality for projects of this size. If you were doing a larger development that had water and sewer connections, or creating parking that was serving the community, then they would be involved. But for something like this, they're probably going to just issue a local determination, and it's going to, they have 30 days to respond upon reception of the plans.
Kristen, I would copy both. I would have one submittal to the county from both the ZBA, have a joint submittal to the county, so it's one letter. And because technically, the ZBA has to do it and we have to do it. So you can do one submittal saying it's from both the ZBA for the area variances and from us.
Okay.
And get a joint letter. I think the county planners would be very happy with it. One letter instead
Yeah.
of two.
Do we know how many bedrooms you're planning on?
I would, it would be the new unit would be a one bedroom, one
and then
bath.
2 bedroom, and the other one, or
It'd be 3. Oh, I would like it to be.
It would be a 3-bed what? 2 bath, 1 bath?
Yeah,
That's the lower one.
2 bath.
the larger one? Would be
Larger,
larger
lower,
one.
yeah.
yeah.
and then 1 bedroom in the second.
Okay.
So it's 4 bedrooms.
So everything's already existing, like not changing anything
Outside, right? Yeah.
or inside, really. The only change that I would need to do would be to make sure that, obviously, any windows in bedrooms meet egress standards, anything like that. And then, just it's the way it's laid out. I have a picture here somewhere. So I had originally applied, but I had filled it out for an
ADU,
yeah. No, an accessory use.
dwelling unit,
Yeah.
accessory dwelling unit, ADU, yeah.
So I have a picture in here somewhere. Not to scale, but it gives you a rough idea. The house is basically a rectangle, right? So this is garage. So there's the existing laundry room, there's the steps here, up and down like a bi-level. Right, so this is, hallway. So right now there is an existing door here. I would either need to seal that off or put a fire rated door right here. That would be the only change that would need to be done. The rest of it's existing, the kitchen's already in, already have the permit, everything. So it's currently like a mother-daughter. So it would just go from, the top floor would be the whole top floor. They'd have access to the garage, this hallway, the laundry room, and the stairs. And then this one would be living room, open living room, kitchen, full bath, full bedroom. It already has pre-existing, cement
walk-in
pathway.
there.
Yep,
Yep.
cement pathway right here, doors, everything.
That's, the pathway is here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That way, okay.
All right. So essentially, the division is that the top floor and the bottom floor are the 2 separate. The garage would be then for this.
The top floor for the
Okay.
main unit. So it's majority of the.
Then this space here would be kind of designated for the.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't want to draw on here, but like this is like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So you would just want to show a dotted line here showing that this is the garage, so we can count that space.
Counted for.
The parking.
The parking, remember we were talking about the.
Right. You're
the-
removing this.
If you move this,
So
just,
show 3.
So I should
Brian-
revise the plan to show that.
Brian should put a mark so that we can count, no, because otherwise this space just looks like it dead ends into a brick building,
Makes sense.
into a building. So if you show a dotted line here and mark it as,
That's
and
right.
denote it as a mark,
And remove
Garage.
this.
and remove that, yeah.
Garage on.
Do we have to make a motion for the GML joint submittal joint letter from planning board and ZBA?
I don't know that we're ready to do that. Can it go as is, or do you want revisions, Keith?
No, I think it can go as is. I mean, it's showing a more restrictive development by having that third parking space, because that's really the only development that's gonna change is moving that exterior parking to designate inside.
Okay.
Everything else, plan-wise, is not gonna really
Nothing else
change.
change on the property.
So then,
Chimney there's a basement where the utilities are,
No, the home's on a slab.
and on steps. What's it? There's a
Chimney
chimney
must
there.
be for upstairs.
There's a fireplace on the.
There's a fireplace on
Upper
the
floor.
upper floor. Okay, so it's just a basement over there for support underneath here.
Correct.
Okay. But you can put cons there. Okay.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, that's why. Okay. So then, a couple of things, just procedurally. One, will make a motion to make a joint referral with the zoning board of appeals for 239.
To the county. Mm-hmm.
So if I can have that motion.
We're gonna define what you want on the CBA?
No,
No,
we're not-
just,
we're just sending it to
239.
239.
Okay, then move that we,
GMO, 239.
239 to the county.
Is there a second?
Joint
Yeah.
submittal from-
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I was just double checking myself. Normally when there is no construction proposed, it is a type 2 action, so there's no seeker review. Just be aware, that doesn't, because it requires variances, that doesn't kick in, so I'm recommending we treat it as an unlisted action. The applicant does need to update the
Yeah.
EAF before you come back to either the ZBA or the planning board. Those are relatively small corrections. And then the thought just went straight out of my head, I'm sorry.
The EF, that's the environmental.
It just has to be
Forms.
updated because what was submitted to us was the September submission.
Oh, so got
I
it.
need it to reflect the current application. And
Got it.
Kristen will need that before she can send it to 239.
Okay.
Okay, so she'll need that revision. And then, now I remember. Next, the next step would be to make a referral to the zoning board of appeals. Again, I would recommend a letter from your village engineer confirming the dimensions. And Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, again, I have front yard setback, side setback, total side setback, minimum side yard, street frontage, and did you say development coverage?
I said it for them to verify.
Okay.
I mean, the plans call out provided 33%, and it appears to be more than
Okay.
that. So just a verification.
So I would make that recommendation like we did the previous applicant, subject to verification of the dimensions by the village engineer.
What about the livable floor area?
And I will add livable floor area to that list,
Okay.
These
if
spots are
necessary.
currently both paved.
Correct.
Those are existing.
Yeah.
I'll move that we refer this to the ZBA for those variances, subject to confirmation of the coverage.
Dimensions by the planning board engineer
Mhm.
and livable floor area.
Is there a second?
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
This way we just don't need to have him make the revisions, come back for a meeting, just for the sake of a motion. It's an engineering determination. Keith, I've given you
That's
some
great.
homework.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Comes with the job.
I guess for the coverage though, you probably want to remove
Yes.
That's,
this.
Brian's gonna need to make the changes so that Keith can do that verification.
So I get the changes, then I send them to you.
To me,
Yes.
and then.
She'll send
I
it-
called myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Keith will issue a letter.
And if Brian has any questions, he can reach out. He has my contact information.
Okay. Get the, all right. Get that, and then you'll check, and then if I am beyond 35%, then I need to get
We need to add
That'll
that
be
as a
added to the
variance.
variance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you don't have to add that. That's all inclusive. So if it is under that, that's where they're gonna part of the ZBA variances.
Got it. So when I go to apply for the
Before you can, are you going to ask about the ZBA?
correct,
Okay, so before you can fill out the application, you have to send to me the new short form EAF with the revisions
Yep.
that Liz just told you about. you also have to send me the plans so I can send them to Keith, so you confirm the dimensions, and then Keith says yes, you can go to the ZBA. You can send this application to the ZBA.
Got it.
And then you give me
Then
the
you can make
money,
it-
the escrow,
The
everything
application for the
together,
ZBA.
Yep.
the application, but Keith will say yes before it can go.
We just, the reason I'm structuring it this way for both this application and the others is, one, I don't wanna guess and have you go and then it be wrong. And this way too, we're trying to streamline the process so that we're not having you come back for a second meeting just to turn you back around and send you to the ZBA.
Got it.
So, that's an engineering issue, the two engineers can work it out. I'm sure Brian will reach out directly, which is fine as well. So that can be resolved
Great.
So,
offline.
so for the list of the variances I need,
Keith is going to.
It'll be in a
Keith
letter.
is
you'll have
going
them.
to-
All right.
Yeah,
I don't need to
Keith
remember all
is-
those.
No, Brian's gonna, he'll give me a list, I'll check it, and then
Yeah.
issue a referral to the planning
Got
board that it's ready for the variance.
All right,
It's
perfect.
ready to go to the ZBA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. Great,
I think I got it.
awesome, awesome.
Okay.
Alright. Any other questions?
I move we adjourn.
Well, let's make sure there's no more questions.
No, I think I'm good.
Alright,
Thank you.
sounds good.
That all?
I second
That's it.
Bill's motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say hi to your dad, he built my house.
Did he?
Yeah.
Where did it?
Gordon Terrace.
Oh, I helped.
Thank you.
I was looking at running around probably.
Oh.
Nice meeting you.
We
Alrighty.
got a second for
Yep.
adjourn.
We got stuck
All in
down.
favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Alright.
This is, you want this?